All right, we're back for part 7B with Niles. Welcome back, Niles, our Wunderkind, who we got to meet last time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome back, Niles. Um, just as a brief recap of our last stream together, you are fairly unfamiliar with blockchains in general, or at least were before the first stream. So we did a recap of, or we did an overview of what blockchains are, um, the Dash blockchain, the fact that Dash platform is a separate blockchain that has a link to uh, the Dash main blockchain. So we have a proof of work blockchain and a proof of stake blockchain. They're linked together and they can transfer funds from one chain to another. We discussed that conceptually, but the testnet was down for that day, so we did everything just reviewing code and whatnot. But today we're going to jump into actually doing the commands. So let's go ahead and get your screen share up. Last time we did start the tutorial. We got the wallet
Here's
going.
what Auto Show said we did. So we covered various aspects of Dash's architecture, including its dual blockchain system, consensus mechanisms, and ongoing development of platform features.
Oh, nice. That's what your Chat GPT show notes script gave us.
That's part of it. Yeah, I cut off the end actually. So that concludes with plans for future exploration of the Dash ecosystem and potential contributions from Niles. Can't forget those.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we'll jump into we did get the testnet funds, and so that part's taken care of already. So let's add your screen to the and pull up the blog post, and we'll just continue on or basically start the actual commands.
Real quick, can we just look at your code, including your .env and your client file, just to make sure everything is where it should be for where we're at in this point in this tutorial. Yeah, so those both look good. So we got your mnemonic in, okay, and then check your .env.
All right.
Yeah, no, that's all. So everything's good there. Yeah.
Okay.
And then go to your .env file real quick. So we got testnet, we got our address and mnemonic. Okay, cool. So you should be good to run the create identity command, and then we'll go from there.
Yep.
Okay. And okay. Let me see. Where were we in this?
So go further down past the pictures, and then past the create identity, and then right there run npm. A little too far. So go back up a little bit. Well, yeah, a little bit more. Right there. So npm run create identity. That's the one you gotta do. After this is where we'll be at the. This will give you a link to a different block explorer. It'll be for the platform explorer and not the Dash layer 1 explorer. So this is just for the platform. And this will, because the platform is where things like the identity concept entirely exists, and documents and data contracts and all this stuff that is actually the point of Dash platform, which is why it's always really funny it would break at this point, because this is the point where it's like you would do all this throat clearing to get to the point of having an identity so you could actually use the freaking platform. But that is the kind of the life of a blockchain person. So it's a whole lot of startup cost.
It's taking a little bit. How long do you expect this one to take?
At least 20 seconds usually. So This is about correct. This is probably the longest command. Again, being like the first one to get you started. Very inconvenient one. So there you go. You're good. So first before you click that, copy the identity ID and get it in your .env file, so we don't forget this step.
The whole line.
The whole line.
Yeah.
Bam. Okay, now follow that link.
Let's fix it, I think.
And then Niles, if we have time in this show, since we got a little bit of a head start since there was a previous one, I would like to circle back after we get as far as we get and look at this create identity. Look at the code that's actually running when we're doing that, and we'll see if we can together discover what is causing the slow, like the slowness there.
Okay.
So
so yeah, I'm sorry I missed it. What are we looking at on this page? This is my identity. We have.
So this is the platform explorer, and this is what's basically. So if you go to transactions, that's click that,
and zoom in a couple more if you could.
Yeah. So what this is breaking down specifically what is your identity, and then what are the different state transitions that happen. So creating the identity is what's called a state transition, because it's basically like a write on the blockchain versus a read. A read would not be a state transition. So if you just retrieve your identity, then you will not be changing anything, but you're creating identity, you are actually writing something. So this is what's happening there. So I think, can you scroll? Is that the whole thing, or are you able to scroll down anymore?
This is it.
Okay. So try clicking the identity with click that. So that'll just take you back to where you were, right? So does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. So that's my identity.
Yep. And then
or the identity of the transaction.
So this is your identity on the left, and then the different things the identity is doing, like a transaction or a transfer or creating a document, that's on the right.
Gotcha.
And you'll notice there on the previous screen that you've got a balance that's denominated in credits. Who wants to look at the number of zeros there? Is it?
It's 1 billion.
It's 1 billion. Okay, so that is you can think of that as like a subunit of Dash. So it's 1 billion credits. 1,000 credits is the smallest unit of Dash, and there are 100 million of those units in one actual unit of Dash. So that's how many credits.
We need to pick up an intermediate unit that we can also display here, just for everyone's sanity, because that's such a large. It's just like it forces everyone to all of a sudden have to use scientific notation to like do anything.
Yeah, and because that identifier is taking up so much space anyway, maybe we can ask Mikhail to write in parentheses that 1 billion credits is X number of Dash.
Yeah, that's right. This is a change I could even make. I know it's a Next.js front end. I could do that. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know.
That would be that would be super useful. That's a good idea.
Something like that. All right, moving on.
Okay. Want to go back? So yeah, I got the identity ID. Okay. So was that the same one we already saw? That's a different one. Okay, so yeah, do you want to do this?
You just did that.
Right. I can see the top identities. But yeah, I just saw my own.
Yeah, yours at the very top.
We even have little glyphs now. That's fun.
Yeah, if you see one of the ones from yesterday is Claire.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Look at that.
Yep.
I'm famous now. All right. Right. Should we do this?
Yeah, I'm 90% certain this is not going to work.
Should I kill this?
Oh, why did the process not end here?
Go back to your create identity file real quick. Yeah, it should have disconnected once it was done. I'm not sure why it's hanging, but we know it did finish because we got all the info on the Explorer already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this ran.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah, so we can kill that. It's not going to be an issue. But what I was saying is, I'm 90% certain this is the command we're about to run is not going to work, and I'm not really entirely sure why. But the last couple walkthroughs, this one has been giving us issues, which is strange because it has functions within it that are in other commands that don't give us issues. So, I'm not quite sure what to do about that.
Okay. Get identity IDs. Where's that? Right here. Okay. And we can run it. Doesn't focus me on this window when I come down. I'm a little annoyed by that.
Mm.
Puny code is deprecated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says that for
It's the least
almost
of
every. It says that for every single node project that I use right now. So that's one of those dependencies that's like so deep in the sauce that literally there's not a single project I use that does not use it. It's really annoying. I've started
That
using
sounds
the
like
dash.
a perfect package to exploit.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I know, right? But yeah, there's a
That's how
no
JavaScript goes a lot of
warnings
times.
flag you could give node to make it not give you such annoyances, like fundamental broken parts of the ecosystem, you know. Let's see.
Whale.
While this is running, you could probably. So when I was doing this with Rishi, every time he ran a command, he would just start doing the next file while it was running. He's such a.
We do that. Yeah, that's output. Oh, Duffs.
This is what we were kind of talking about in terms of the credits and the millions and billions of them.
All right. Well, may as well do this. Should I run this right now or should I wait?
No, it should be done now. Jeez.
Is it slow on the network or is it slow on my computer?
Yeah, this is a little excessive, and the fact that the last one just kind of hung forever makes you think it might have something to do with your computer, but it's hard to say because we don't really get the observability that we would need to say right now. We would need to instrument the commands to somehow be separating your own compute time versus the network time, which I'm sure in theory is possible, but would need to do research to figure out how to do. But this is just this command is just reading back the identity we already created. So honestly, we should probably just cut this one off if it doesn't eventually execute and just go to the top up identity, because the top up one is important because that actually has ramifications on future commands.
Okay. Do you want me to kill it?
Let's let that run for just a little longer while we look at the top up command and explain what's happening there, because conceptually it's important to know what this command is actually doing. So what it does is it gets your wallet with the get wallet account, and that sets its wallet account, and then it gets your identities with get identities IDs. So that's the only thing the other command is doing, is getting identity IDs, just trying to loop over them and display them, which for some reason is making an issue. But with this one, we're also then topping up each identity with a certain amount of credits. So I wrote this. It just throws credits into all of your identities. You may have multiple ones. It's not necessarily a good thing to do if you actually have real money and you want to be using a specific identity for a specific thing. But for this tutorial, I did this because there's ways in which, if you're not following along exactly, you may have like created multiple identities and not necessarily realized it. So this ensures that you're always going to have identities ready to go with some money in it and kind of just like blast it out from your Dash wallet into each identity. And that's what the credits are. It's a way to offload your Dash from your layer 1 wallet into your identities, which are on the Dash platform.
Okay, so yeah, your layer 1 wallet versus the Dash platform. So that's what this line is doing. It's you have 2 different identities in the 2 different spaces that you just said.
That is for logging them in the. Yeah, that's just for the console logging the.
This is for the information about the identity.
Yeah, because the command above that, the await client.platform.identities.topup, that's the top up command itself.
I see what this is doing.
And so that's looping over. So you already have each ID just from the for loop happening.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's check on our other command here.
Yeah, so let's kill that.
Is still going.
And then let's run the top up and see what happens. Yes, when we did this with Claire, we had an issue with the retrieve identities.
I think we did. We put the script in the.
The U.
Oh yeah, we haven't. No, we haven't. So go to your package.json. Oh no, we do have all of them. But oh yeah, so I think at one point one got changed to have a capital U versus lowercase u, possibly. So make sure that's all.
That's what it looks like.
Up.
Yeah, so this has to be capital. And I could change it over here too, I guess. So yeah, that's an inconsistency.
That's weird. I'm surprised that. Wait, hold on.
So it's fine in here, but inside of here it was wrong.
Okay, I don't think that's what's happening in the actual. I'm looking at my blog posts, and they're all the same. So at one point, I think you typed one yourself.
I don't think I typed this.
Yeah,
it's from the package. Where did I get the package.json from?
From the tutorial, also. I'm not sure, but there's been 2 other people who've gone through this and were also using the copy buttons, and this didn't happen. So at some point, I think you just wrote it out. I'm not sure, but it's fine. We know what the issue is now. So.
What in the world? Wait, how did that happen?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Look at that.
Yeah.
How did that happen? I don't understand. That's crazy.
Actually, no, I think I know why. Because you went over this so long ago, this was before this. You're using an older version, so someone pointed this out to me in Walkthrough, either 8 or 9, and then it was, or actually, it might have been you who pointed it out. So
I don't think so.
So there's someone pointed out that there is an inconsistency there, or that we should be using capital U instead of underscore U because it's a different word. So I then went back and changed it. So it's been consistent in the blog post, but your 2 walkthroughs were not consistent across the same blog post.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So it was your fault, is what I'm hearing.
Sounds like a you issue.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. I got the result for that. Not what I wanted. Okay. Top of identities.
Yep.
So
we just need to run the top of identity command correctly, right? Or did we do that already?
Which I did.
Okay.
Top of identities. This is my output.
Yeah, when they went super fast, so that, like I'm saying, is essentially it's doing the exact same thing the retrieve command did, but with a couple extra things. So it doesn't make any sense why one would crap out, but the other one. But anyway, let's keep going.
Okay. So we got a register name, and it says we want to put this inside of our environment.
It can't be a space; has to be a dash.
Has to be a dash.
Yeah.
Has to be a dash on dash.
Yeah, there's a link to the naming constraints also, which explains stuff like that. But it's a little too much to put in the blog post itself. You zoom way up, yeah.
Cool. Anyways, let's go back. So let's make a register name. And then we run it.
You can go ahead and hide that little bar at the bottom. There's a hide button there.
Sorry if that was bothering you.
That's okay. So this is again one of those things where, you know, if we get to a point where we can circle back a little bit, I'd like to look into this and have you look into this, Niles.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done much JavaScript debugging?
Yeah, I mean, I usually don't have bugs in JavaScript. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I meant other people's code base, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
Because I'm frankly not sure what the holdup here is. What's taking so long? If it's on the network side, I heard somebody say something about it's resyncing the chain every time you're doing a command, and that if you have a storage adapter so that you can have local cache, then that would help. But
that's what is the point? What is the point of the set synchronization thing in the client? That's what that's supposed to do. So if that's not actually doing that, then that's a huge issue.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand it either. So that's one of those things I want to look into. I haven't done it.
Who did you hear that from?
XKCD was saying something about that. Yeah. So let's move to the next step and let that run. This might be one of those. Yeah, this seems to be taking even longer than it usually does on that one.
Yeah, it shouldn't take that long. Yeah, that link probably doesn't work. The whatever I created back when I wrote this may not still be there.
What is this data in here?
So that's what you're going to get once you create your name. So the label is what you gave your label. And then, so what was it? Miles or Niles something. Just your name, yeah. So that's the label. So in my blog post, it's AJC Web Dev Test 2004-08, which is why I did this first. So I was back in April. So that's what that date is. And that's why the links probably don't work anymore.
Yeah, testnet's been wiped clean and restarted since then.
Makes
And
sense.
I have it on good information that we'll have some documentation on setting up a local network so that we can test that as well shortly. But right now we're still with the test net, which is a little finicky.
Yeah, I mean, I could get. It depends whether he has Docker set up or not. But do you have Docker set up, Niles?
I don't remember if I have wiped my own computer clean since setting up Docker, honestly. I wouldn't be confident enough to like just open it on this stream.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but
That's
yeah.
the only hard requirement for getting a local network is you got to have Docker set up already. So we'll just keep going on here, I guess. But if we can't get the name to register, then you can't. I mean, I think we still create documents and all that stuff. So, but the fact that it just hangs, it doesn't eventually throw an error, that makes you think it's something on Niles' computer, not the testnet. Because this is something that's never happened before. It's never just hung forever and never returned anything. It always eventually gives an error or it works. Like this is totally new to me.
Anthony, are you equipped to try to run some of this stuff in parallel? Well,
I mean, we know the network itself works. He created the identity, so it's not an issue of like is just the network down or not. So, but so I could just try to.
Yeah, could it be a version issue? I have 22.4.
No.
I don't think so.
No, that's good.
Well, this is still doing nothing.
What makes you suspect that it might be Niles' computer, Anthony? Because it's not standard.
Because this is the first time this has ever happened before, and just because he's running Linux, so that means absolutely anything can happen. And I have no idea what would be a computer issue, not a computer issue. Most people, I don't think anyone else has run this on Linux before.
Yeah, that is a variable that we haven't seen before yet.
Really, most of your developers don't use Linux?
I don't know anyone who uses Linux, dude. A lot of developers will use Linux on their VPS, but when they're developing, they're usually using Macs.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
For better or for worse. But let's see, what can we do to kind of investigate this?
Well,
so I'm trying right now just to create my own label. So I'm going to spin up a wallet and do that whole rigmarole, but that's going to take like 5 minutes. So I think we should just try and create documents or try and create a data contract and see if that's going to work.
Yeah, let's move on to the next step, Niles, and then Anthony can do that in the background, and we'll see if we can do some other commands.
Should I run these two commands in parallel, or should I kill this one?
I'd go ahead and kill that one. I don't think there's any...
Yeah, you should kill the other one. Yeah.
I lose my paste when I do that.
What shell are you using? Just
this one is bash right here. But
you should try Zish instead.
Wow.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
all the others you've done have been doing Zish because Zish is the default for Mac. But that should definitely not affect anything. But if we want full consistency, Zish would be more consistent.
Yeah, I mean it's just running this, right? Or it's just running one of these. Shouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing. Definitely not. The things that shouldn't make a difference frequently do.
Fair. Cannot read properties of null. This is null right here. Or no, this is null.
Let's see. So, sorry, what command did you run to get this?
The retrieve name command.
Yeah, it's not going to have the name yet because we had trouble.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, sorry. Yes, I wasn't saying do that one next. I was saying go on to the
next one after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, we got a blueprint for the structure of data that an application intends to store. Okay.
Yeah, we won't do this either because we've seen that one there was an update that made that not work too well.
Okay, but I can register a contract right now.
Yeah. So you can open up the register contracts code and see what it's doing.
Okay, so we're pulling identity ID out. It's this. And then get information about our identity here.
Yeah, so we've seen that we've already been able to do that. It's the name that we weren't able to get.
Okay. Do you want me to try to run this right now?
Yep.
That was quick.
Yeah, it'll get the contract ID quickly because that's client side work, but it will take a little bit to finish. Are those? Let's see. What are those?
That's just a.
Have you seen those ones before, Anthony?
No, never seen it before.
Interesting. But it does say that the contract registered and it finished the script, so that was
all worked.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, what version of the SDK are we using if you go to your package.json file? 15. We've never used 15 before. How did it do 15? That must have been the latest version at the time of our last stream. That may be why we're having some issues.
Possibly.
Because we've never used 15 before. Let's change that to either 12 or 16. Do you remember which one we've had best luck with, Anthony? 12 or 16?
12 is in here.
I haven't noticed any real difference between the two yet. That has been consistent. I can say for sure worked on 12 and not on 16. But we've just kind of been going with 12. So
the network is mostly running 12 and 16 is the latest release.
But the network is not. But this is like we were talking about this Dashmate because Dashmate we could be on 12 or 16, and like that's what the network is. That's closer to what the network is running because the network isn't running the JavaScript SDK.
No, I know, but in theory,
so I just don't think that makes any sense when you say that the network is running 12 because you're saying it's running a completely different piece of software that also happens to be version 12. That's not the same thing.
If it were semantic versioning, it would matter. Let me put it that way.
No, it wouldn't. It only matters. It only matters within its own. Semantic versioning only applies to itself. It doesn't mean other things in an ecosystem at the same number needs to be compatible.
Anthony,
that's not what semantic versioning. I know.
Anthony,
I worked with the dude who invented it.
I know DCG much better than you do. So just calm down here.
Okay.
I know what they do.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, do you want me to change this dependency here?
Yes.
Try 16.
He's defying you.
Okay. So do you want to retry the step that we missed?
Yeah, I think we probably should. Did you, and do we have to, sometimes seems like you do and sometimes you don't, but the package lock, did we have to blow that away before we?
Yeah, I always do that. I also usually delete node modules too.
Yeah,
That'll take longer to reinstall them. So you can
That's
probably
okay.
just blow away the package lock.
Before what? I'm sorry.
So delete node modules and the package lock.json, and then do the install. Because if it's been too long since I've done this work myself, but I've just noticed when I was developing that if you don't change your package lock, even if you change your package.json, if your package lock is still there, then it will just install the old one in the package lock.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you want the 12 or the 16 version?
I think let's go with 16.
Let's do it.
In theory, 16 should be all the good things from 12 minus the bad things from 12.
All right.
Yeah, because I think the times that we were messing around with different versions and stuff, the issues was really more so just because there's something cracked in a couple of the commands that make them inconsistent. And I don't think being on 12 versus 16 is going to specifically affect those. But I still have yet to actually see a point where I feel like I was confident that there was an issue that always happened on 16 that was not happening on 12. So I think at this point,
sporadic.
it would make more sense to kind of just go with the most recent version and see what happens.
Is there like a verbose mode I could turn on?
And you're running retrieve name, but I don't think that we ever actually did the register name. That never successfully finished.
No, we didn't.
So that's the one we should do next.
Too far. You went way too far. There you go. Nope.
I don't think I even
go past
saw
it, dude. Go slower. There you
Sorry.
go. You just went past it again.
You're talking about the register contract one?
There you go. Register No, not
Oh, okay.
sorry. It should be
No.
register.
It's not
Register name.
Register name. It's register name.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully it works this time. I do think we should get a verbose mode, maybe.
Yeah, there may be
there
one.
should
I
be.
don't know.
A lot of these are any types.
Yeah. It's supposed to be the TypeScript never got all the way through. Let's put it that way.
It rarely does, let me tell you.
You know, the any type is just the cop out. Like, I don't have time to do this. Let's just make it any. This is what happened.
Anytime is the admission that you should have been using JavaScript in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You have time to write the types, don't use TypeScript. It's totally absurd.
Yeah, we are still not finishing on register name.
Okay, you should go forward with the rest of the contract stuff. I'm about to try and do it.
Should I register contract?
I think you already did register a contract, didn't you? Did you ever save that contract ID in your .env?
No. So we did get it though. We just, I think we just didn't copy it and paste it in there.
Yeah.
It's in your history. Yeah. Scroll down a little bit.
This one?
Yeah.
And then this. Yeah. I hate it when it does that. Okay, so we got a contract ID, and then I have this information here. Should I put this somewhere, or is that just for my viewing pleasure?
No, that's just for your viewing pleasure. If you get pleasure out of it.
All right.
Okay, so we registered a contract. Now we're let's go back to the tutorial and see what step we're on, which is going to be submitting the document. It'll probably have you get the contract as well, but we can skip that part for now.
Okay. Oh yeah, do we want to do this retrieve contract?
I mean, we can try, sure.
That one usually works.
We can also try to find it on the Platform Explorer, the web app.
Should I change this link to this? Hey, there's me. And I have a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Still going in here for some reason.
Well, let's skip that one again. We'll move on to we'll just do all the ones that seem to be working relatively quickly.
Okay. Update contract. So this one gets an existing contract, gets a document schema. Okay, so we're updating note. And then associating it with our identity inside of the existing contract. At least in theory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so mine crapped out on creating the identity. Funny enough, we were able to get through. so I tried. I switched the DAPI addresses, and I'm running it again right now. Stuff is comical. I swear to God.
Let's go to your web browser real quick, and go to the Platform Explorer.
Right here.
And go to validators. Let's see if this is up yet. Okay, so we have active and inactive.
You just have multiple.
I was hoping for a list of IP addresses that are known to be running, but I guess that hasn't been updated yet.
Hmm.
I think they're working on that page.
Okay.
Can you click on those validators? If you click on that,
Oh,
does it
yep.
show anything? Any
Proposed
IP
blocks.
Proposed blocks active. Doesn't give an IP address. So Anthony, are you just using the IP address that we've used before that we?
Yeah, I just literally pulled up Travis's video, scrolled to the point in the video where we put in an IP and typed that exact one out. It's running right now. I'll know if it's going to work very, very soon.
Amazing.
Yeah, the API might be a little further ahead.
Okay. So yeah, you want to keep going through this?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Add an apps object to the client options. What are my client options?
All right. Okay. So here's an IP address that I got to work with a command that we already got to work on his. So we'll see if this actually helps or not. So
You're gonna put it in
I'm going to
StreamYard?
copy paste. Yeah. So you're going to want to put this in your client.
Okay. Inside of my, I'm sorry, let me see what it is.
Yeah, so not your .env.
Yeah. It's going to go in my
client.js. Client.js, very top.
client.js.
Yeah, and just put it right under network.
Okay. So this helps with what?
This lets you pick the specific network node that you're going to connect to with the specific IP address instead of just looking for one and then crapping out because it hits a bad one.
Okay. So which part of the tutorial should I go to now? Do we want to go back and try the ones that didn't work?
Let's keep going to the end.
Yeah, let's keep going for now.
Okay.
We'll go back.
Try and register a name while you're doing this.
Okay. So put that in, and then add network. And then put the apps in there. Okay. And this contract ID, I have it. Okay, good. Okay, so we can submit note document.js. I'm just going to kill it. And we run it. Have you tried connecting to this IP today and it worked for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what I was doing in the background. I'm right at the point now where I'm trying to register a name with this IP. I was able to create the identity. I wasn't able to create the identity without it. There we go.
Awesome.
We got a name.
So you were able to
damn it, 2024-0709.
Okay. So I did this.
Okay, that's great. That worked.
And yeah, did I want to save that output somewhere?
Just the document ID.
Yeah, just that.
Yeah.
In my env?
Yep. And then you're gonna the next step you're gonna update Oh, wait, you already got that in there. Never mind.
Okay.
Cool. Yes, let's continue
get
on this
document.
line. Once we get to the end of these commands, we'll circle back and do the register name.
Okay. And I'm assuming we run it. We do. Hello from Niles Salter.
Here you go. You wrote to the chain. Wait, hold on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's the label is coming from your .env, not from the chain. So that's why that works. I was like, I didn't know your name. You didn't register it.
Man. Okay. Good to know.
Okay. Update note document.
We should probably
the one,
change that. I don't know.
Yeah, the one thing that's been nice about going through this, having a break in so many interesting and unique ways, is I've become very confident about what my code is actually doing here. What's your experience with like front end frameworks, Niles, like React and stuff like that?
I haven't touched those in a long time. On my website, I actually just use like vanilla JavaScript stuff, vanilla HTML, CSS.
What's a long time mean? We talking a year, 3 years, 5 years?
Probably 5.
Wow. So were you writing class components?
For React, I don't think I even did that in the browser. I just did like React flavored stuff, not React specifically.
What's React
Okay, we
flavor?
updated the
What do you mean by
document.
React flavor stuff?
Cool. So I actually like the TypeScript that I was using. It was for a different ecosystem, and so there were libraries based on React.
Do you remember what they were called or what they were?
Yeah, it was Roact because it was a Roblox specific incarnation of it, and yeah, so it wasn't for the React that the React flavor thing that I use. It wasn't specifically for the browser.
Oh, the Lua UI library similar to Facebook's React. Okay, so you haven't actually used React. Yeah. Is what I'm gathering.
Not React, no.
Okay, that makes it okay. That's so
in other words,
that'll be interesting.
He dodged that whole dumpster fire.
Well, he didn't because it's right in front of him right now, burning away, and he's gonna have to take a big old whiff. So yeah, this tutorial ends with you building a React front end. So it should be as painless as possible for you, though.
I did Vue relatively recently though, because I had it for I did like a code test that was using Vue. I made like a little Pokemon viewer for that.
Okay, so that's more similar than probably to whatever that React Roblox thing 5 years ago was, because Vue and React they're very similar now, especially if you write them with the most modern syntax. So that means you do have some experience with a modern front end. Basically, it's either React, Vue, Svelte, or Solid. If you've used any of those and you kind of got a handle on it in any respect whatsoever, the rest you're going to be able to figure them out.
Okay.
All right. So where are we at then?
Components and props and state. All that stuff.
Yeah, so I just did the update note document, and so now I can do
the last was the delete document. So this is your basic CRUD commands. So this is kind of like the actual hello world part of the tutorial. Once you have your identity, once you've created your contract, you can actually put storage in there. Then you can edit that storage, pull it back out. This is like your global database.
Awesome.
Yep.
And then set up a backend server.
The delete document doesn't seem to be very snappy either.
You know,
Striking out.
I'm using this.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I'm using a pretty good computer right now. I have like a AMD Ryzen 9 5950X inside of this desktop, which is not the latest generation, but it's Zen 3. The one that's coming out this month is Zen 5. So,
well, it
I would
actually
assume it's not an actual like computer processing thing. It's more so just however it's connecting to the network, and also because we're using StreamYard as well, that may be just taking up more network bandwidth on your computer. So that's more. I would say it's more likely. I mean, it affects things like installing node modules and other things.
Yeah.
Okay, so we ran all the individual scripts, and we can extend this functionality with a backend and front end. Let's create an express server that will return information on a given identity name. Let's see what that does. So we got a server, and we create a name endpoint here. Sorry, keep going the wrong way. And then we just start it. Okay, now it's open on locals 3001.
Oh wow, this is funny. I'm just looking at the ROAC documentation real quick, and it basically has you do it doesn't have you do class components. It has you do the like if you were to write React from scratch and like how to create an element, which is more like using web components actually.
Yeah, I guess the Vue thing that I did more recently is probably a little more relevant then.
Exactly. I mean, this is actually good though, because this gives you more of an understanding about what those libraries are actually doing if you go through this exercise in the first place. It's not really the way you want to actually write this kind of stuff, but malform JSON string. Try it without the JSON PPP part. Without the S flag also. Oh, so we need to actually register the name to do this part.
Okay.
So this is trying to get your name. So we could do it with the one I just created. Let me just give you something real quick. So instead of your name, grab this from the private chat and just replace it with that.
Amazing name.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay. So I'm just going to kill
just
this
do your
again.
last curl command. And then get rid of the quotes.
Whoa.
There you go.
We got some data. Beautiful. Okay. And they wanted us to put it into JSON PP.
That's just to format the output. It's not really that important.
Right. Now that's add a front end. Could that be let's?
Let's
add a front end.
Good catch.
We're using
Still a couple bugs in here to find.
Okay. To Next.js. Would I like to use TypeScript? Yes. Do I want an src directory?
Yes.
Like
And you want basically all these. That one doesn't matter. You can say no on that one. Basically, just choose the default for each. Yeah. Yes, and next is a React meta framework. It's like by far the most popular. Although a lot of people kind of complain about it all the time and hate it, like most things in JavaScript. So it's we're not even really using it to any sort of extent in this. It's just to get you a front end set up really quickly.
Okay. That's the right one, right? Oh, yeah. So, do I delete what I had before?
Yeah, so you just replace or delete everything and just, yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, and this will just show you how to get the next app itself set up.
Then run it. Okay.
Cool. And then you can pop
yeah,
open
should I
that
visit
and
the-
give you a local host to open it on.
Okay.
Great, that's good. So this is just your
Beautiful.
shell, and then we're going to add in the logic to actually fetch the identity.
Okay. So, and then if I go back to update,
Make sure you change the name. It will have AJC Web Dev hard coded in the code. This is like the one last thing I still need to change.
okay.
Yeah.
So should I change that to the name that you sent me before?
Sure. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got it right here. Okay.
There it is. It's a beautiful app.
Beautiful. Even gets lighter as you go down. Look at that. So fancy. I bet you had like a UX master work on this.
Yep.
I mean, whoever created the next template, I think that's just all I did. Is just kept the same CSS.
Okay, well,
fetch button.
you just created your
Technically,
first
there's one more part. Technically, make sure you're gonna have to fix the endpoint again. Yep. Yeah, all this what this does is it just puts a button so that you can click that, and then you also have a little loading thing while it's actually fetching. So you gotta click fetch data underneath the yeah, there is a button in there. The CSS right now doesn't make it very clear. So it was good. You gotta click where it says fetch data.
Okay.
Yeah, and it pretty much went so
Look at
fast
that.
you couldn't see the loader.
It's just so optimized. It's amazing. All right.
All right, Niles.
Made it all the way to the end.
Nice and snappy.
So we're an hour and 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
We made it through. We had some snags. I don't think we ever got the name registering on your end, did we?
We can try. Let's just run the register name command one more time just to see what happens. So I don't think we tried it since we changed that. So go. Yeah, that should be fine. Just run that guy. Yep. So I'll be the last thing to see whether that works or not.
So Niles, while that's doing its thing, how would you debug this if you were just alone figuring out what's going on?
Yeah, well, first I would probably, well, depending on which stage I actually want to debug first, I would make a note of which of the commands run fast and which don't, like we were talking about, and then I would probably put a little bit of instrumentation code in to see the data that's going in and the data that's coming out, and also the time information, so I can see what's taking a long time. But since we're thinking it's probably something that's happening not locally, that's taking a long time, I would have to dive into like what code is actually I'm calling into, and from there I'd have to, I'd probably want to set up like a profiler or something, or I don't know. It kind of depends what I see there.
Yeah. Have you ever gone into debug mode, attached a debugger in the IDE?
Yeah. With JavaScript, I think typically you can just, on my computer, I can just hit F5 and it'll like let me step through it, and yeah, depends how it's set up though.
Now wait a minute. Did it actually run? npm run register name, and it looks like it finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is because we put the DAPI address in there specifically.
I thought we tried it after we had a new DAPI address, but maybe not.
No, we did not. Yeah.
We just tried it after we changed the SDK version, but that didn't help anything. Okay.
Okay. So what else did you want to do now?
I think that's probably pretty good. I think we can call it a day there. I was going to see if we could. We've gone an hour and 10 minutes, so
specifically just to go over performance things if you want.
And we don't even have to do that on stream. We can just set that up as a separate task. But you and we had talked about having you look into the JavaScript SDK. So there's two main routes that we can go to. So right now the schedule is July 29th, which is coming up in 3 weeks. We are scheduled to move from testnet to mainnet. So we'll have binaries to launch this and have the masternode network adopt Dash platform, meaning the core version 21 and the platform version 1.0. That's going mainnet starting July 29th. Before we get to that point, we want the JavaScript SDK to be better, obviously. The network should be healthier when it's on mainnet, should be, because the nodes are incentivized. But even that, I hesitate to say that. But regardless, we talked about it a little bit last time. There's a Rust SDK and a JavaScript SDK. And they're both in, if you're looking for the repo, go to platform. Up top, it's a pinned one. Yeah. And let's see, packages. It's a mono repo, so it's split out into different packages.
Okay, yeah, we have JS SDK, and then we have RS something SDK.
Yes. So the Rust SDK is further along feature-wise and just stability-wise, but
is that valid right here?
Can you pop up the font? I'm squinting too much.
No, it's not. The 0 needs to be deleted.
Gotcha.
Okay. Anyway,
I noticed the little small thing. So
yeah, I would have not known it. That was Rust code, wasn't it? Or was it something else?
TOML.
Tom.
It's a configuration language.
This is your this is how you get, this is like your package.json. It's how you get your dependencies in.
For the Rust ecosystem.
I was going through these.
Yeah.
I was going through these docs. I was thinking about creating another kind of getting started thing, like the JavaScript one with the Rust one. It's funny, you've been saying the Rust is way ahead in terms of features, but the JavaScript documentation is actually way ahead of the Rust. There's almost no Rust documentation at all.
No, I believe that because they're working on the code itself, and so the code for the JavaScript got set aside for coding the Rust SDK, but the documentation from the JavaScript, which was the original plan that we would have, a robust JavaScript SDK, but now the plan seems to be that some people in the community want to just take the Rust SDK and put a wrapper on it to use as a JavaScript SDK. So there will be really only one SDK, and then you'd have wrappers for every environment. And there's an internal discussion about which approach we should do, whether we should fix the JavaScript SDK so that it performs better and more reliably, or whether we should just stick with one SDK, because there are several important features missing in the JavaScript SDK. One of the main features missing is the proofs. So when you're retrieving data from platform, one of the main ideas of this whole thing is that it gives you provable data that the network is storing, and this is the legitimate data that the network considers valid for certain data schemas and documents, the things that we created today. When you're retrieving them from the SDK, the whole point was that they would be accompanied by proofs. Now, you don't need those proofs if you just trust the validator that you're interacting with, which is, we did that DAPI address. We said, this is the DAPI address that we want to connect to. So if you trust that node, then you don't need the proofs. But if you don't trust the node, then you need the proofs. So that's just one example of a feature that is not even in the JavaScript SDK, but is in the Rust SDK, or at least it will be soon. They just redid the proof system. So not sure where they're at on that, but high level, I'll have a longer conversation with you about this, maybe offline. But
we got Bloom filters too. I love Bloom filters.
Oh, good. Yeah. So if you know that stuff, then this is down your alley. So yeah, that I guess I'll discuss that with you offline. See if that's something that you're interested in looking into. Either doing would you know where to start with that? I guess I'll ask you that right now. Would you know where to start with, say, wrapping this Rust code so that you can put it into using like Wasm bindgen, put it into a browser environment?
I have not done that type of thing before, but I would start with looking up how to do that, and I can follow the instructions on that. I'm not sure how many roadblocks I would encounter doing it for the first time. I really have no idea, but I'm a little bit familiar with Wasm in terms of like reading it, but not. I haven't tried to like set it up in the browser before, honestly.
Yeah, I thought you might be. I thought you seem to be at the lower level of all these things. So anyway, we'll stop the stream there. Thanks everybody who is watching. It shows that there are 38 of you, but I'm guessing a lot of those are Twitter scrollers. But yeah, we'll see you next time.